I am here with a gorgeous lady, Lydia, who has really kindly consented to chat to me about all the psychic and paranormal experiences that she's been going through, and we're just going to chat about it. So anyway, I'll hand it over to Lydia. Tell me your story.
Okay, so whenever I was younger, like, I'd know that I needed to get off the road and I'd avoid accidents or be on roads I'd never been on before and know that there was like an S-curve coming up and there was going to be deer that were going to jump out. So I did a lot to avoid accidents that way. And then it kind of went away for a while, and now it's starting to come back.
You said your boyfriend made fun of you. Did it go away then?
Fun of me about it. And then that's whenever it started to happen less often. And we've been broken up for like 5 years at least. And my 15-year-old, like, his dad has started to believe into it because he's seen so much that, like, Jordan will have vivid dreams where he says he's like watching a movie and he can't talk in his dream, and then everything that he dreamed comes true like 3 to 4 days later.
Yeah.
So he's more gifted, I would say, than I am. But I remember him talking to my grandfather who passed away when he was like 2 in his room. I went in there and I'm like, who are you talking to? And he's like, I'm talking to Grandpa Houston, who died before I even got pregnant with him.
Yeah.
And so I laid out like a bunch of older men's pictures, and he was able to pick out who my grandpa was.
Yeah, that's
and he's like,
so exciting. That's so exciting.
You know, talked about like him and Grandma's older house where he used to chase us around as kids. But my son had never met him and had never been in that house, so he would have not known at all.
So, okay, there's so much going on here. I love this. And, you know, you think about it, little kids at 2 years old, they come straight from spirit, don't they? They are fresh from the spirit world. And they still remember, and they have the innocence and the openness. You know, they haven't learnt to hide it and squish it down because no one's made fun of them or told them that they're imagining it. They're just free with this beautiful connection. And so a lot of times, you know, little kids are so connected that, of course, you said Grandpa Houston, he would know that, you know. Grandpa Houston would have known about Jordan even though he was in the spirit world because he'd see him from the spirit world.
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, this is where you get a lot of invisible friends from. Sometimes our invisible friends are actually spirit people that have come to be with us. Imagine your grandfather would be so proud and delighted to see his grandson or his great-grandson.
Yeah, it would have been his great-grandson.
Yeah.
And that would have been the first great-grandson, too.
And a son. Right? Can you imagine that? And that's why Jordan would have been able to pick out his photo and talk to you about the house because he'd be talking to your grandpa.
Right. And
so
at the
you've
time,
got a medium there, right?
Right. But then he really hasn't had any of those experiences since then. He just gets more of where he has all the premonitions, and I'll get some premonitions. But, I mean, then I've got so much other stuff going on right now that they're coming out actually tomorrow to start filming on.
Yeah.
And figure out what all that is. But I don't know if it's like a gift that I haven't been able to tap into yet. I mean, like, I know that my grandmother who passed in September, I feel her presence here a lot.
Okay, you got your grandma too. Now, because if you're just watching this, Lydia's been talking about what is categorized as paranormal activity, so things moving about without, you know, anyone being behind them. That's correct, isn't it?
Right. That, there's noises that you'll hear at night, like a cabinet door flew off and almost hit me in the head. And that was prior to my grandmother passing. But, like, I would get bruises, like, just overnight. There was one where it was like a large hand had grabbed my arm, and it, like, the bruises set in the morning, and then by, like, 8 hours later, it looked like what normally would have taken 3 or 4 days to bruise.
Right. See, it's really easy at this point to go to the supernatural because that's all we know, isn't it? That's where we've watched all those scary movies, and when you Google, it seems to get worse because, you know, people can have all kinds of really dramatic things going on, and it's easy to go there. Okay.
Right.
And I guess the reason why I'm talking to you today and why I was really interested is because when I connected to you psychically, I could sense that there was very, very strong mediumship ability with you. And obviously now your son, now that you're talking about it, but with you. And I guess what I wanted to hop on and chat to you about was just present you with another option, you know, another way of looking at it. Because I don't know who the people are that are coming tomorrow, but there might be other options, you know. And traditionally, the spirit world makes huge, huge efforts to make connection with you when you are a medium, right? And you'd be interesting and sometimes it feels like it's psychic attack because all the stuff is moving towards you, right? Right. But that is them going, wake up, come on. They're trying to send you a message. It's not just, they don't want to scare you. They're just trying to say, hey, wake up. It's time. You need to do something. Now,
well, and they do wake me up a lot between like 2:30 and like 4:30 in the morning, to where there's 2 hours that no matter what I do, I cannot go back to sleep, or even I'll just wake up to see what time it is.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something. Why do you think they do it then?
Honestly, I don't know, but it's consistently.
Well, how about this? If you've got, it sounds like you've got a lot of stress in your day.
Not really, because I'm disabled, so there is some stress with that. But right now, like, both the kids are in school. I mean, last weekend was extremely stressful, but I mean, for the most part, it's not. But I've had 2 back surgeries, and I'm just at home a lot by myself during the day.
Right. So sometimes what happens is that they contact you in those periods of time because that's when your mind is most open.
Okay.
It's like you're open to receive the messages. You know, your conscious mind is quiet, and usually when you're asleep, your soul is most open. Okay, and that's when it's easiest for them to communicate. Now, when you work with as a medium, and you no doubt are a medium, okay, so I hope you get your mind around that. You're definitely psychic and also a medium. But when we are a medium, we set aside conscious time to connect in. It's almost like we're checking our psychic email, right?
Okay.
And we set aside time, and the way we do that is with meditation. So we then still our mind and make it like the same conditions as when we're asleep. So we get very calm, very open, very relaxed, and we mimic the same sort of things that would have been going on as we were sleeping, but we're doing it awake, and we're doing it consciously, and we're doing it with intention.
Okay.
Right. So all of this stuff, there's only 2 things going on for you that I would say now that are the reason for all this paranormal activity. One is because both you and your son are mediums, and you need to get trained. Right. Okay. That's it. You know, it's time for you to serve.
Okay.
Right? And they're saying, wake up. Okay. The other thing possibly that we can look at is they're telling you to wake up because there's something else going on in your world that they need to tell you about.
Okay.
All right. And it wouldn't be random spooks. It absolutely would be your grandparents, because people that love you, right? To say, hey, is there someone in danger? Is there someone doing something that they shouldn't, that could be potentially not good for them, right? Those kind of things. It's a warning, but not a warning like you're gonna die. It's a warning like, hey, something's happening and we need to tell you about it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's not meant to spook you.
It does.
Right?
And I was transferring stuff onto an SD card, some
photos.
You
told me, the song.
And there's an audio clip, and I can't understand what it is. So with the Travel Channel, there's a new group, and it's going to be called the Holtsir Files. And they're coming out tomorrow to film for 4 days, and they're also bringing a psychic with them as well, so that they can try and figure out what exactly is going on. And so I'm sure with that, their psychic will give me more information too, Plus, I already emailed them that audio clip, and they're going to try and decipher exactly what it says.
Okay. And you do know that paranormal activity is often connected to pubescent teenagers.
Okay.
You know that?
No, I didn't,
No.
because I don't know anything about it.
Well, think of Carrie, right? Carrie is a really extreme example, but Carrie will do. You know, Stephen King's movie Carrie.
Okay.
Right. I'm just going to cough. Hang on. There is so much change and energy and just built up kind of hormones and everything with a teenager that their energetic aura, their energy field can influence physical objects. It's got nothing to do with spirit. It just can make shit move around, basically. Okay. If there is a lot of stress or a lot of pain or a lot of trauma, or, you know, like there's domestic abuse or something like that, you know, stuff will start going around because it's just always pent up stuff in people's energies. And I've been to a lot of houses where people have had similar things going on. And when I've looked into what the story is of how they're living, or they're undergoing some incredible amount of stress at that time, and they have teenage kids, it's okay, it's that. It's not paranormal, it's normal. So that's one option, okay? And it will usually go once the child either grows up, or they sort of find a way to have an outlet for, you know, all this energy. Okay, it's very normal. But the other thing is that they are absolutely mediums themselves.
Okay.
And it's time. There is one other story that I will tell you, and it is told by a beautiful medium called Mavis Patilla, who's a brilliant lady who's been doing this for about 50 odd years. And she was, this is a story she tells, she was called out to a swimming pool, a public swimming pool, where they were having doors banging and like weird things going on in the change rooms and things like that around the pool. And they couldn't work out what was going on. They're definitely like spooky stuff.
Right.
And when she arrived, because she's a medium, she was aware of a young man in the spirit world who had passed through drowning in a public swimming pool. Now, that sounds spooky enough, but when she got to the bottom of it, she realized he wasn't there to cause trouble, or he was trapped or anything like that. What was going on was that because he had passed in a swimming pool himself, he really could see that there was potential for somebody else to get into trouble in the pool, because the young boys, the teenage boys that were supposed to be on patrol guarding the kiddie pool, that was their job.
The girls.
Exactly. They were all looking over there at the girls, because that was much more fun.
Right.
Actually guarding the kiddie pool. And this young man from the spirit world who had drowned in the public pool was there to say, hey, watch out, there's something going on, you need to take care, you need to wake up, you need to do something, because he could see the potential. And this is what the medium was able to do. She wasn't just, oh yes, you drowned, you're stuck, whatever. She actually went, no, you're here for a really good reason. And when they realized that, when Mavis said this is what the story is, the people that ran the pool went, oh yeah, that is true. And they made the changes, swapped the boys around and put, you know, the ladies near the guards. People, they had no more problems after that.
Okay.
So that's a story to just help you understand why they come. They're not coming to spook you or freak you out. They're coming to usually say something. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the two options I would probably suggest with you. How does that sit with you now?
That does make a lot more sense to me, because when it started, I was getting out of one relationship, and then the next guy that I was introduced to through friends started to become, like, at first he was really nice for like the first 3 months, and that was basically like him gaslighting, and then he turned really controlling and really possessive.
That's why you asked about narcissists in your post, is that right?
Yeah. Because sometimes I would be at his house watching TV, And it was after his mom had died, like 2 months after his mom would die. And no matter what we were watching, like tears would just stream down my face, but I didn't understand why.
Because you were feeling the energy of it. So are you saying that this phenomena happened when you got into a relationship that wasn't that healthy for you?
Well, it started like probably 2 or 3 months prior to that, and then more phenomena happened as we got further into the relationship.
What do you think that's about? That's like, that would be your grandma and your grandpa and anyone else who's going, yeah.
Don't even get into this relationship in the first place.
So that's a way they're looking out for you, and it's the only way that they can get through if you don't meditate. Because at the moment, there's no other way, is there? They have to make it really big to get your attention, to go, hey.
Right.
But imagine if you gave them an opportunity to pick up the phone.
Right. So whenever I meditate, do I need to focus on them, or just like say that I'm opening myself up?
It's not even that intricate. You just sit. You just sit quietly. You might want to listen to music. You just concentrate on your breath. Any meditation will do at this point, because you're just starting out. Any meditation, any guided, anything that makes you feel great. When I teach my students, I give them a special meditation to do that opens up their energy field, gets them ready for mediumship and psychic work. But for you, anything just makes you feel calm and connected, and you just send the thought out, I'm here. And you don't even have to pull or push or check or, anything. You just go, I'm here. Because it will take you a while to build up to that level where you can just let your mind relax. Because when we first start to meditate, it's like, squirrel, and then you kind of learn, so it's a discipline. It's like going to the gym. You kind of work or build up your meditation muscle through practice. But that would be something that might help settle everything down, give them an avenue to start communicating. And you may feel like, for example, you want to pick up a pen and start writing, because you've got some ideas, or you might just feel words landing. You might feel the presence of your grandmother. You might remember how she smelled, or, how she felt, and you might suddenly be overcome by this feeling of, your grandmother. Or you might feel your grandpa, and you might suddenly just have a memory of him, of something that he used to do. I know you said he passed when you were small, but you will just feel it. And the thing is just to notice, because they are now building their gateway to you as well. So you build your gateway, they build their gateway, and somewhere in the middle you meet, and that is mediumship, because a medium stands in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. So see how that goes. I know you got the film crew coming tomorrow. It'd be really fascinating to hear how you go and what you end up doing. But I just wanted to hop on and maybe offer, this kind of alternative, because I do believe the spirit world is gentle and loving, and they only want the best for us. And the people that are connected to you most were going to be there to protect you and love you. And even if having things fly around the room is their way of saying, wake up, that's what they'll do. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know where I need to even start. I mean, it's like I kind of got gut feelings before, but nothing really, I mean, other than that. And now, I've got
just starting out. It's
9-year-old, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where I even need to go. So,
well, you're here. You found me. And you found the Psychic Playground, and I do have about 120 YouTube videos just on psychic work and mediumship that you can binge watch. And I'll probably put this up on YouTube, right, to help other people who have this thing going on. So I want to thank you so much for hopping on with me today. I really do appreciate it, and to share your story so openly. And I hope that we've helped you a little bit.
You have, because that gives me a lot more information